So if you watched this channel before, by now you probably know that there are FG boots, there are SG boots for softer pitches, and AG boots for artificial grass. But actually there's another type of outsole that is kind of important to talk about, and that is TF, or turf. And in today's video, I'm gonna give you my top 5 of the best turf shoes that we have on Unisport in 2024. The thing is, Jay, what is a TF turf shoe? Isn't that basically like a football boot that's a shoe with studs on? And actually, that's not too far off. See, turf shoes are made for these really short, hard, and slightly rougher AG pitches that are basically just a very thin artificial grass carpet on top of a layer of concrete. And that can sometimes be a little bit rough on your feet and especially on your knees. So turf shoes, they need a lot more studs that are a bit shorter, and also they need a cushioning layer in the midsole to basically protect your body even more than an AG boot does. And also, the good thing about turf shoes is that they're kind of versatile, meaning that you can use them for turf pitches, but you can actually also use them as a slightly more cushioned and comfortable and even safer option than AG boots when you play on regular 3G, 4G artificial grass. But enough of the talking, let's get into the list. And conveniently enough, we can start with the Predator Elite TF in 5th place, which, I'll be honest, it's a shoe that I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with, because while it's very good, there are also a few niggles that we might just get out of the way. See, the heel might look very nice and comfortable with a lovely suede liner and all that, but it is stiff. And quite a lot stiffer than I expected initially. And also the upper, while being Hypertouch 2.0, it just needs a session or two more to break in compared to the regular FG and AG model uppers. But apart from that, you do get a lot of the same Hypertouch 2.0 strike skin awesomeness, plus that very lovely anatomical fit in these, as you do in the FG and regular AG models, for 140 euros. Now, the mid and outsole here is also very good. The traction in the outsole is great, both on turf and regular 4G artificial pitches. And I really love that firm, responsive feeling from the Light Strike foam as well. And actually, I would say that despite the heel niggles, unless I'm playing on a really high quality new 4G pitch, in which case I'd use the 4G AG option, I would say that I'd probably lean towards using the turf model, because if the pitches are a little bit older or harder or shorter or rougher, the studs here are too long and also there are too few of them, in which case most people would say just go for the 2G, 3G option. But the thing is that this is very heavy and also very chunky, and the fit is just, I really don't get along with it. So I would much rather have a safer outsole and that anatomical feeling of the Predator Elite, albeit with a slightly worse heel, but it's 140 euros. Versus 260 right here. So life hack, it's not too bad if you can live with a heel. And then in 4th place, I have the Nike Champo Legend 10 Pro Turf, which, I mean, 140 euros buys you the Adidas Predator Elite, whereas 130 euros here buys you the Pro. Because Nike don't do Elite in turf, but with the Legend specifically, it's not too bad, because the FlyTouch Pro upper here on the Legend 10 Pro feels very, very similar in terms of touch and feel on the foot to the FlyTouch Plus that we get on the Elite. So it's not all bad. In fact, it's quite impressive what you get on the Pro here. And also, overall, being a turf shoe, I like the feeling of the midsole here. It feels on the softer side, but it's still bouncy enough. And then the outsole is really, really cool with these many thinner little studs that work great, as in really, really great on turf especially. They also do well on AG, but I just feel like I'm lacking a little bit of that aggressive bite that some of the other shoes have. And that's not to take away anything from the shoe here. It's a great option, especially also because it feels so nimble and football boot-like. It's definitely the lowest profile, or one of the lowest profile shoes on the list here. And on AG specifically, I like that a lot. I want my boots to feel, or my shoes to feel like boots, right? Whereas on turf, I would have liked them to be just, you know, a little bit more robust. And after all, since this is a turf list, That's why they're down to 4th, even though they're really good. And then in 3rd place, I have brought a bit of a surprise. Because honestly, I did not expect the Puma King Pro TT, whatever that means, to be this good. I mean, I saw it back in the day and thought, oh, that looks sturdy enough, let me give it a go. And I liked it a lot more than I had anticipated. So the 110 euros here buys you a super, almost stupidly soft upper that it just fits so well right from the get-go. It feels like you've worn it for ages. You have a lovely fitting heel with a great liner and just a very accommodating fit. Now the midsole is it's solid, relatively firm foam, but that has cushioning enough. And then the outsole just has a great balance where you get this lovely stable midfoot, a really flexible forefoot, and combined with the little studs here, it feels very balanced and smooth, both on AstroTurf and on modern 4G artificial grass pitches. So just a really well-rounded shoe. And I love the little suede toe cap here to improve durability and of course prevent sole separation. And for 110 euros, it deserves a lot more recognition than it gets, I think. I'm surprised. And then in 2nd place, I have brought one of the OG turf models, the Mundial team, which basically does more or less exactly the same as the King Pro in 3rd, but just, with actual leather this time. And that means that you get such a lovely fit in the upper. The Mundial team is basically the turf variation of the Copa Mundial, giving you everything you know and love. So this super soft upper, very, very accommodating fit, and a boot that just breaks in really, really nicely, to the point where if you want a Copa Mundial, you know that eventually it just feels like a slipper that you've worn for ages, and you get the same experience here. Also, of course, there's a tongue that will never, ever stay down, but it is what it is. Now, the mid and outsole also works great. You have this good stability, stiffness in the midfoot, very, very flexible forefoot. And the little studs are also great. I really trust them both in terms of safety, but also in terms of traction on actually both AstroTurf and also on more modern 4G artificial grass pitches. So that's great. They're on the heavier side, but on the other hand, they're built like actual tanks. I still have my original pair that I got when I started in Unisport 15, 16 years ago, and you can tell that they're a bit battered, but they're still holding up really well despite taking a beating, and it's a really, really good, very slipper-like, sturdy pair of shoes that you can trust. Just go down half a size, maybe even a full size if you like it snug, because for me at least, they do run a bit long. Mundial teams. Legendary. But before we get to number 1, I also want to give an honorable mention to the Nike Phantom GX2 Pro TF, which is a little bit like the Legend 10 Pro in the sense that it's very low profile and sleek and feels a little bit more football boot oriented than some of the other shoes on the list, because it's just sleeker, right? And sure, you don't get grip knit, which is a bit of a bummer. But if you're just into this really soft, no-nonsense, super sleek, knitted upper feel on a very low-profile tooling, then you can do worse than these. Still take some of the other shoes on the list over this, but I had to mention it. But then again, you could also just go for the 2 shoes that I have ranking as number 1 on my list. And I know that having 2 shoes in first place is cheating a little bit, but
it's my list, guys, okay? So hear me out.
Because it actually makes sense. Because what we got here is the New Balance Furon 7 Plus Pro Turf and the New Balance 442 V2 Pro Turf as well. And what I like about these is that they're basically, as far as I can tell, at least very, very similar to the uppers that you find on their FG boots. Meaning that you get these super high quality, but also very nimble experiences when you play. They're very football boot-like with super low pointy toe boxes and these very sleek silhouettes. And whether you go for that fantastic comfort of the leather upper in the 442s or that super sock-like, very snug and sleek knitted upper in the Furons, you're just gonna get this football boot experience that I'm personally looking for when I play on turf or artificial grass. But you just get the added safety from the outsoles as well. Now, both boots or shoes here have the same midsole with the fuel cell and the same outsoles here. The outsoles are really good. They're on the more aggressive side, but I tend to like that they feel a little bit more responsive and still safe enough. And then I really enjoy the fuel cell insert in the heel here that feels ever so slightly, bouncy on that initial plant of your foot, but also still responsive enough for you to really feel that when you push off. So just a very, very good package. And if you are a football player that play 11 aside normally, I would say that you should definitely take a good look at these. I'm glad I found them, because they're pretty wicked. So there you have them, my friends. Some of the turf shoe options that I would definitely go and rock with if I was to play on AstroTurf or even AG pitches if my knees were, having a bit of a slow day and I just wanted a smooth, really safe ride. All of them very, very solid. Now, of course, there are other great options out there for turf. So just remember that these are based on my personal preferences and my experiences. But what would you choose if you were to go and play on AstroTurf or AG tomorrow and you needed a TF shoe? Well, let me know in the comment section right down below. And of course, remember that if you want either of these or any other turf shoe or AG or whatever, anything football gear related, click the link to Unisport right over there. Of course, also don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the notifications on. And if you want to learn some cool skills, check the playlist right down there. And with those words, I'll be signing off. Cheerio.